Now, the troops of the Samidrc mission in Eastern DRC have started withdrawing to go back to their home countries. This mission that started in 2023, that was supposed to last 1 year, was further extended by 1 year but cut short this January after a fierce fight between the M23 and the Samidrc troops in Eastern DRC in what is now known as the Battle of Goma. 14 South African National Defense Forces troops lost their lives, and after that, there have been heightened tensions with some of these troops held in different bases surrounded by the M23. Now, in this video, I'm going to tell you about the strategies that the Samidrc has put forward in this journey for them to withdraw from Eastern DRC as they were mandated by the M23, as well as I'm going to tell you about what follows next after the Samidrc troops have withdrawn from Eastern DRC. Now, this is Bonafide. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and hit that notification button so that when I release something new on the Eastern DRC crisis, you get notified as soon as possible. Well, it is now official that the Samidrc troops are leaving Eastern DRC. The videos that have come out, the photos about long convoys of military vehicles on the road leaving Eastern DRC, these are Samidrc troops. Countries that are represented in the Samidrc are Tanzania, Malawi, and the South African National Defense Forces that were assisting the FARDC to fight the M23 in Eastern DRC. Now, these forces were caught up in a fierce fight in January that led to the loss of lives of 14 of the South African National Defense troops. And since that heavy loss to the South African National Defense Forces, the Samidrc troops have been trading very carefully in Eastern DRC because a lot of their troops were surrounded by the M23 in Eastern DRC in their bases in Goma and Sake. And what followed were tensions between the M23 and the FARDC, as well as the Wazalendo who were assisting the FARDC to fight the M23. All that built up to the M23 coming out to say that we no longer want the Samidrc within our territories. We don't want them near us because there were allegations that the Samidrc troops were assisting the Wazalendo and the FARDC in a recent attack against the M23 in Eastern DRC. And while the Samidrc troops had a meeting with the M23 and said, okay, we are going to leave this region, but we want to leave through the Goma International Airport. They even signed documents that say that we are going to rehabilitate the Goma International Airport, and that will facilitate us to leave with all our equipment from Eastern DRC to go back to our countries. The tensions that happened after dismantled all agreements that were held between the M23 and the Samidrc forces, and the M23 say that you have to leave immediately. Now that led the Samidrc to look at options of how they're going to leave via road from Eastern DRC to go back to their homes. Now the plan that the Samidrc had is to find a route that will be faster and also safer as they will move with the equipment through Rwanda, Burundi, and Tanzania so that they can split from there to go back to their respective homes. Now remember, the distance between the bases in Goma and Sake and Chato, where the troops are now supposed to split to go to their homes, is 500 kilometers. These troops knew that they will be going through somewhat an enemy territory because diplomatically it is said that Rwanda has been assisting the M23 in Eastern DRC, meaning that technically, as also it was reiterated by the president of South Africa, that Rwanda was involved in this, it means that they will be going through enemy territory, going to Chato, Tanzania. That meant that the Samidrc had to come up with an effective strategy on how they're going to move their troops and equipment all the way 500 kilometers to where they're going to split. Now, they ensure that they had a reconnaissance troop to go ahead to plan all these troops, to plan the routes that they're going to use that will be safer and faster, as I started by saying, as well as they had a quick reaction force that will be following this convoy at the tail end to just ensure that no one will try to attack this convoy, perhaps to get the special equipment that they have, that they were using to fight in Eastern DRC. Remember, this equipment have been very precious to the SADC troops in Eastern DRC. One of the things that they say that they are not going to let go were the equipment, the military equipment that were in Eastern DRC. Although the M23 say that the equipment that were used by the FARDC will stay with the M23, the Samidrc troops say that it will be categorical that they will leave with all equipment that they were using in Eastern DRC in their fight against the M23. Now, it is also important to note that this movement with all this equipment is going to be a very long journey. They're not going to go with the speed that anyone will go with on these roads on their way to Chato, Tanzania. The movement with equipment will be slow. They will be sleeping along the way so that they can move with all their equipment up to their destination. The Rwandan government has come out to say that they are going to facilitate their movement through Rwandan territory and that they are not going to interfere with the journey of the Samidrc through Rwandan territory all the way to the time that they will leave the Rwandan territories and the Rwandan border. It is also important to note that the M23 has been inspecting all equipments that have been leaving the Eastern DRC by the Samidrc, ensuring perhaps of their safety as well, because these were two warring parties and now one party is moving from one region to another, crossing through enemy territory. And that means that all troops, being the Samidrc or the M23 or Rwanda, have to be very vigilant of what is going on within their territories. Now, the Samidrc came out and said that by 30th of May, everything will be out of Eastern DRC, as the mission itself had been stopped by the SADC, and now by 30th of May, everything will be out of Eastern DRC. Well, that means that there will be no regional mission in Eastern DRC. The UN will still be there, but the parties in Eastern DRC are banking with diplomacy right now. We know that the United States has really gotten invested in what is happening in Eastern DRC. They are saying that they want peace in Eastern DRC. They are moving everything to ensure that there is peace in Eastern DRC. In exchange, they are going to have minerals in Eastern DRC, all the sweet minerals, copper, lithium, cobalt. Already, Bill Gates with Cobalt Company has come out say that he will be the one who will be getting that minerals, and of course, he will be processing outside. As I did a video yesterday, you can go and check it, about how Cobalt Metals Company is going to process the minerals in Eastern DRC as part of the diplomacy that is ongoing in Eastern DRC between the DRC government with the United States government, so that there can be a deal of minerals for security. Well, I will keep you informed of the latest of what is happening in Eastern DRC. Keep it bona fide.